I'm Joe. That's Flat. Paul and Joel. And they all do stuff.
What kind of music do you play?
Jazz fusion, is that right?
Yes.
That's what we're trying to do, isn't it?
There might be a little bit of
Latin
jazz fusion in there,
folk,
but I think it's mostly black and death metal.
How would you describe your style of music, black death metal, to someone who's never heard it before?
Ferocious, heavy, gritty.
It's like killing grandma.
It's an acquired taste. You've got to listen to it over and over again.
Yeah, if you could imagine the noise it would make when you plunge your fist into someone's stomach and rip it out.
Why did you choose this style of music over other types of metal?
Well, because we thought generally, well, I thought personally there wasn't enough death metal going about Oxford at the time. There's always been a lot of doom going on, a lot of sludge and that kind of thing. A lot of melodic death metal bands, which I don't believe in. And I don't know, I just thought there's nothing going on for the black or death metal scene in Oxford.
It's what we all collectively enjoy playing and enjoy listening to, so it made sense.
How long have we been a band? I'd say probably about 2 years now, isn't it?
About 2 years and a month now.
Well, Joel was a later addition after
I came
December
late.
last year.
That's a good thing, right? Not coming early. Coming late.
That's the way we like it.
Flats, you two are obviously brothers. Does being in a band together improve your relationship?
No.
My little brother and I, we didn't really get along when we were younger. The music has come along and brought us together somewhat. And I suppose it doesn't really make a difference to the influences of the rest of the band, because I treat him just as I treat the rest of them.
Like an idiot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much. I suppose Joe more so, because he's a drummer. It's
Yeah.
hard to think.
I'm not allowed to think now.
So, we hear you're currently recording your first single/EP. Can you give us an idea of what to expect and how are you going to promote this?
Live gigs will be a big part of our promotion.
I think so. The decision to do it, we've done a demo already, and the reason that we're doing it is because we really need a product. Doing a EP as such as we are now, we're hoping to get some of that actually recorded, because our demo didn't really get to our sort of expectation.
No, it really didn't catch a...
No, so we're spending serious time and money on getting something that we think tells people about us.
Give me some of the reasons behind your lyrics.
Well, there's a few different themes that run in our lyrics. There's a lot of it's anti-religion. For centuries, for thousands of fucking years, people have been killing each other over belief, which it's just not knowledge. At the end of the day, knowledge is 100% fact, whereas belief is, could be one thing or the other, and people don't necessarily understand that with each other, so they decide to stab each other in the throat with it.
But it's not all about religion, or the lack of religion.
No, it's not all about
but yeah, there's a little bit of a poke.
That's the
as you may have
central
picked up.
idea, now and again. Generally, when I start to write a song, I have to be in a certain extreme amount of mood, so that could either be a really good mood or a really bad mood, but generally what I write for Fragment is when I'm in a really bad mood, and people generally piss me off. So I write a lot of stuff about that. In songs like this and Nothing More, that's a song about the loss of somebody and how these memories of these people can keep repeating on you.
Okay, Flats, how long have you been a vocalist for?
Not terribly long. I knew I was wanted to be a vocalist, but I suppose I've been doing it properly since I've been in Fragments. That's about 2 years.
Yeah, and how did you train yourself to be able to scream the way you do?
I don't know. I think it's just a lot of it arose from just natural technique. I don't know. I've always been a loud bastard anyway growing up.
It's true. Don't get him too drunk, he just growls anyway. I think it was a combination of either cat litter and cider does it. That works quite well.
Yeah, the cat is bad.
Joe, how long have you been playing for?
For about 8 years now I've been drumming. I've wanted to drum since I was about 7 or 8 years old. I remember in first school they let us have a go on the African bongos and all that. I kind of developed a love for it there, but didn't pick it up until I was about 11 or 12 again. And started in a basement in a pub on someone else's drum kit. Then eventually got Sasha, my beautiful Sasha, who is now dead now. That's my drum kit from before.
I don't know what you're going to say then.
Yeah, about 8 years. So.
Yeah. Paul, how long have you been playing for?
6 or 7 years. I can't really remember the exact time I started playing guitar. I don't even remember why I started playing guitar. To be honest, it's just I felt like trying something new that wasn't football or Something guaranteed to be crap at.
Guitar, football. You started off with bass though, didn't you?
Yeah, I started off in bass. That was interesting, but I never really found I could play anything interesting on it that I felt like would ever get me into a band. I've been in a band as a bassist. It didn't do anything for me, so I thought I'd stick to guitar and primarily be a guitarist, which has worked out well.
Me and Joe saw Paul at a gig quite a long time ago at Wheatley Park School, I do believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you stood out as the guitarist that we couldn't hear because your amp wasn't on.
Yeah, your amp wasn't
Something
on.
like that. And that's, I suppose that's when we
Fucking
first
vocalist
met
turned
Yeah,
it
that
off.
was when we first met Paul Cock.
Cop car.
Yeah, Joel, how long have you been playing for?
Too long. I'll give you a bit more than that. Well, it's going to sound impressive, but I wish I was as good as I'm going to say. About 15 years. I wish I was 15 years good. I remember it starting at school. I was in some kind of weird
It's half your
aggressive.
life.
Yeah, pretty much. It was some weird, aggressive kind of punk band where the singer used to dress up in a dress. Who are my influences? Good question. I'd say Shane Embry's a good influence on me. He's predominantly a guitarist, but he plays bass in Napalm Death, and he's got a very aggressive, energetic style I like. I'm hoping not to inherit the same bald patch he has, because that would kind of suck. But Shane is an absolute legend.
I started my most recent voyage into different bands. I listened to a lot of Opeth, and that has helped me write a couple of things for Fragment. But before then, in previous bands, I've kind of written in a very Iron Maiden-y style, galloping chords, things like that. But really, before that is my main inspirations for writing. It's hard to say because I write whatever I want to write, basically. And
Inspiration. Well, I'm definitely inspired by George Collius. He's an absolutely amazing drummer for Nile, if anyone doesn't know. Has a very big influence on me. I also listen to a lot of the old school black metal, like 1990s era. So Immortal and Burzum and Emperor and all that, and I love the drum style. I love the fact that it's really simple and kind of just does what it needs to do. There's nothing overly flashy about it.
I suppose my influences are the same, not unlike the other boys anyway. So Napalm Death, Opeth, two brilliant bands. One of my favourite bands at the moment is Phlebotomized, a 90s avant-garde death metal band. Very, very interesting stuff going on there. Basically, I've always been a massive fan of black metal, always been really, really, really into death metal. And any bands from the early 90s era seem to do it for me at the moment. I'm not so much into the modern stuff. Anything that ends in core that isn't grindcore or hardcore tends to be a watered down version of whatever music they're playing.
Any final words of wisdom? What advice would you give to new bands starting out in Oxford?
If you've only been in a band and you've been playing for 2 weeks, you might have practiced for 2 weeks, but do not take it up on stage based on 2 weeks of practice.
You really do have to keep practicing because it's a very, very tiring thing to do.
really think about what instrument you want to play. A lot of people want to be guitarists, but the problem with that is there are so many guitarists that it's really hard to find the drummer and the vocalist.
I think it comes down to enjoying it, remembering it's your spare time, it's your free time. Make sure you get the most out of it. You're not playing for anyone else, you're playing for you. And that's pretty much the one thing that stood the test of time. So I'll end on that note.
Best advice I know is just don't be Fred Durst.
Good point.
Yeah.
He's nailed it right there, pretty much.
Couldn't have said it better.
Don't be Fred Durst.
Well, we've got kind of goldfish memory, so what was the question again?
What can we expect from Fragment in 2012 and beyond?
Well, we were just having this chat earlier, weren't we?
We were indeed.
Obviously, the first thing you've touched on already is we want to do the single, the 3-track single. From that point, we've got to put a bit more money in, I think. Paul's got a new half stack coming, haven't you, Paul?
Yep.
Which is going to make a difference
PV
from that
Valkyrie.
horrible Marshall combo. I've already spent too much money, so I don't want to spend any more. It's going to happen, though. It always happens.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have broken that string then, really, should you?
I think we'd like to get out of Oxford is the major thing, because as much as Oxford is our birthplace in many rights, the same bands play together quite a lot, and they're great bands, but no one's going to see the same bands come out week on week. And we're just starting to realise that after Reception up in Nottingham and Leicester, we're just kind of realising that that's where we've got to push ourselves. And there's also London. We'd like to get into that area too. So, yeah, I think the primary aim is to sort of tune our professionalism and get out of Oxford.
Yeah.